What up, nerds?
That's too hard and my hand hurts.
Just an absolute disaster. I can't read. Alex can't clap. What up, nerds? This is the A Winner Is You podcast, and we're back in your ears. If you didn't notice, it's still May, which now means A Winner Is You Tower. Yeah, that's right. Which now means A Winner Is You Towers that we are here to deliver you our now obligatory Maytroid Vania podcast. This year we have taken the, I don't know, Alex, what do you want to call them? The Soma Cruise duology.
The duology of sorrow.
Yeah.
God, that could be a Zelda game, couldn't it?
It could be, yeah.
Legend of Zelda duology of sorrow.
Oh, good God. Yeah, well, certainly the Wii years were a bit of a duology of sorrow. Although, retrospectively, people like the werewolf one, don't they? Did people like it at the time? I feel like it wasn't that much liked at the time, and now people like it.
I think it's gone kind of both ways. I think people did like it because it got really good scores. And it was a Wii launch game. And then I think towards the end of the Wii, people were like, oh, that was a bit wank, actually, wasn't it? Because all you did was just go, and waggle.
Yeah.
And the wolf stuff sucks balls. And then Skyward Sword came out, and everyone was like, oh, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Twilight Princess was where it's at, bro. And then they did the HD version, and everyone was like, no, yeah, this is solid. The dungeons are great. Then everyone thought Breath of the Wild was amazing. Then Tears of the Kingdom made them do busy work and use the same maps again, and everyone went, I want dungeons again. Hey, that Twilight Princess had dungeons in it that were good. At least that's how my brain's gone with it.
Yeah, I feel maybe that's just the way of it with Zelda fans, right? They get furious at a game, leave it for a while, and then remember they like it.
Yeah, probably not isolated to Zelda either, is it?
No. I was thinking of Wind Waker as well, had that similar thing. People hated it, and now all of a sudden it's like...
Yeah, that was some initial reaction hatred, wasn't it, I guess?
Loved, yeah.
I think when everybody played it, they kind of ate some humble pie.
Yeah, they did. Anyway, we're digressing already, and I'm about 4 lines into my script. So... It's the two games telling
what
the
story. What up, nerds?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, it took me long enough to get it. It took me, 3 attempts to get through that? Let's not do that again. It's the two games telling the story of Soma Cruise. This spans Castlevania Aria of Sorrow and then the direct sequel, Castlevania Dawn of Sorrow. This was released on the Nintendo Game Boy Advance and the Nintendo DS, respectively. I suppose these games are interesting on multiple fronts. Firstly, and Alex, feel free to jump in at any point. And probably most importantly, they're fondly remembered Castlevania games, but also that because they're direct sequels split across 2 different handheld generations, each with their own constraints and opportunities, resulting in what is simultaneously quite similar games and often very different games at the same time. Would you agree with that? Weird statement?
Yeah, I would. And there are 2 things to... Well, no, there are 2 points you've already made, or we've already made, that tie into part of that, where, firstly, talking about people who hated stuff at first, and secondly, how they're quite different. I didn't realise, actually, because these games, maybe they didn't pass me by, because I've definitely had Dawn of Sorrow since I got it at Blockbuster when I worked there, so in that era. But apparently...
so we were friends when the DS was a thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, when it was on its sort of dying days, and then we both got 3DSs and Street Pass.
That's right.
Addiction. Yeah, so the artist for Aria of Sorrow is called Ayama Kojima.
I'm going to get this mixed up. There's too much of sorrow going around here.
Yeah. Let's just say Aria and Dawn. The GBA one. Right, the artist, by artist, I'm talking mainly here about the aesthetics of like the box art and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that woman is called Ayami Kojima. She did that, and you'll see it as well, actually, on the sort of podcast art and stuff, like the difference between Aria of Sorrow and Dawn of Sorrow. If you go on our Dropbox and you look at the thing that I made, or I think I posted it on the Twitter actually already. So if you go look at that, the difference between those two is quite like a stark contrast.
I mean, I was struck by the differences quite right away when I moved on to the DS Dawn of Sorrow game, because I'm probably going to annoy people by saying this, but Dawn of Sorrow feels very anime in design.
No, you're not going to annoy people. That is what they didn't like.
Okay.
So if you check out like the box art for Aria of Sorrow, it's very gothic. It's very much like
it's
Symphony
what I
of
would
the Night.
expect from from a Castlevania game is Aria of Sorrow. Yeah, and you're right. Symphony, it echoes of Symphony of the Night.
It must have been her that worked on that as well, right? So when people saw the anime for like box art and stuff for Dawn, they did not like it. And apparently at I think it was Tokyo Game Show in 2005, Igarashi admitted that it was his decision to make that change. One of the reasons he said is, and I quote, "Ayami Kojima is brilliant, but she's not very fast." And that was because she was also working on Curse of Darkness, which is the PS2 home console game.
Okay.
So he wanted her to concentrate
we'll
on that
at some point.
I hope so, because they're supposed to be pretty good.
She was working on that as well, was she?
He just mainly made her focus on that and then just said, like, right, fuck it, we'll just do some anime bollocks. And part of the reason for that as well, they thought was sort of...
Why has he got such a... if you're
monetary
listening to this podcast, Google Castlevania Curse of Darkness, he has got a very small head for some reason, the character on this box art.
I think Curse of Darkness is one of the earliest in the timeline, and these Dawn of Sorrows are basically the end of the timeline. But yeah, they thought that they were disappointed in the sales of the GBA ones, Aria especially, and because the DS was kind of like clearly targeted at a wider, broader range of people, certainly like younger gamers as well. Igarashi thought that maybe aiming and doing like a sort of Saturday morning anime style might result in some better sales from the kids at the behest of artistic integrity, I'd imagine. I mean, the game itself, we'll get onto this, the game itself is gorgeous and like far better really looking than Aria of Sorrow, which still stretches the GBA. But yeah, it's mainly like the box art and the character like faces and the opening anime cutscene that you get on the Dawn of Sorrow thing. People just did not like that at all. It is very different.
When you meet like the different members of the cult at the beginning of Dawn of Sorrow as well, I feel like they've got talking like linking it into anime. Maybe that's not fair, but they've got a very Team Rocket vibe about the mouse getting.
Well, yeah, especially because the main woman is completely and utterly useless. We'll get onto her, but she might be one of the worst antagonists I think I've ever seen in any game, considering she just talks and runs away then dies. And you don't even fight her.
Yeah, that's true. Before we get going, however, we've got our now obligatory quiz cards to be reading.
Oh, yes! So I'm glad you remembered that.
We're going to start with our movie night quiz, and then we're going to do video, and we're going to alternate. I've got 2 of each cards that we're going to do.
Can't lose this time, can I?
No, you can't. Let's just go. Okay, so, and I'll play along and tell you if I reckon I would have got the answer right, and you'll never know if I'm lying or not.
You were very honest last time.
Yeah.
You basically said you'd have got them all wrong.
Yeah. Will Ferrell and Christina Applegate play newsreaders in which comedy of 2004?
Anchorman.
Yeah.
The Legend of Ron Burgundy, is it?
Yes, he's nailed that. I would have got Anchorman. Definitely wouldn't have got Legend of Ron Burgundy. Wouldn't have got the full name. Director, so he's one for one at the moment. Director Joseph Kosinski released 2 movies in 2022, Top Gun Maverick and Spiderhead. Which actor starred in both? I don't even know who this actor is, so I wouldn't have got this.
I don't know. It's not Tom Cruise, is it? So
no. Someone called Miles Teller.
I've heard that name, but I can't.
I've just googled him. He's in something called Whiplash, Top Gun, The Gorge.
Oh, is he the drummer in Whiplash?
Yes, pure so.
Okay, yeah, all right. I do know who he is then.
So you're one from 2.
Spiderhead just made me think of that.
Never heard of
Konami game. That Slitterhead, whatever it was.
Spiderhead. Yeah, the pictures don't tell me anything. Anyway, Geralt.
Well, there's obviously nothing to do with spiders or heads that look like spiders, so.
Nope. Geralt of Rivia appears as a playable character in which 2018 fighting game? I would have got this.
Soul Calibur 4.
Yes. No.
5. Shit. 6.
I may not have.
4 is the one that had bloody Darth Vader in it, innit?
Yeah.
Shit.
Darth Vader, if you bought it on is it PlayStation?
Yeah, and then
if you
Yoda on
bought it
Xbox.
Yeah,
Because green.
For which console?
Bollocks.
For which you will get this. For which console was Luigi's Mansion a launch title?
The Nintendo GameCube.
He's got it. He's what are you 2 for 4 so far? So
yeah,
you're on for. You've got 2 more cards to do, so you're on for getting more than half. It's the movie ones would get me.
Modern movies, I'm not really hot on anymore.
Well, let's see what you think of this one. What year does Marty McFly travel to in Back to the Future Part 2? I wouldn't have the faintest idea.
2015.
Yeah, how did you know that?
I just remember it being 2015, and everyone being like, "It's the year we would have gone to in Back to the Future."
And
we haven't got flying hoverboards yet.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
we do have the sneak
because it's 1985 to 2015. It's obviously like however many years that was.
Yeah,
30.
Once you see it, it's too late. Is the tagline for which smash hit 2022 horror movie? I wouldn't got this, but I've seen the movie.
Once you see it, it's too late.
I quite enjoyed this movie. I don't know what the general consensus of it is, but it scared the living life out of me.
22. I don't know. It Follows. It's not that.
Smile, apparently.
Oh, I haven't seen those. I think you did recommend those to me, though.
Yeah, I enjoy them. Right. Oh, you may get these, though. I think you may be able to redeem yourself in the final card. In Middle of Earth, Shadow of Mordor, what is the name of the gameplay system that creates dynamic stories involving the enemy Uruk, tailored to each individual player?
Is this the same card from those those 2 questions for the movie ones were on?
No, so this is the movie. This is the.
Oh, okay. That's the Nemesis system, but I feel like that was the question we had before.
No, because
what's the other?
What, as in like today, or
no, as in last time you did this, but maybe it's not.
No, because I ripped them up and put them in the bin. I'm ripping them up as I go. Never to be seen again.
Well, then it isn't. I must have had that. It's probably on when I went on holiday for my 40th. I took my game trivia cards with me, and I made Rach read them to me one night. That must have been on there.
You're now giving me the fear. So let's see what you think of this question. What popular streaming service launched in 2011 allowed content creators to stream video games whilst chatting with their viewers?
Oh, that's Twitch. I hope
it is.
What was the Microsoft one?
You had a T-shirt about it that you threw back into the crowd. What was it?
Oh yeah, Mixer? No,
Mixer. Yeah, MIX.
Yeah.
Mixler.
Yeah, that was it.
No, Mixler's the music thing, or like the live podcasting thing, isn't it? Mixer.
Oh yeah, that was at Gamescom, and they threw T-shirts out, and I threw it back to the people who. Yeah, I'm such an arsehole.
The Xbox one I got, just covered in holes that I sleep in.
Yeah, see that? Oh, I remember you wore that when we were at wherever we went, Doncaster, and you said about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got a good one. I wanted the one you got, not Mixer, not a
Mixer.
Dead streaming service.
Mixer was a good streaming service as well. It's just
actually it was. Yeah.
Microsoft can't seem to run any sort of software program like other than Windows. They just ruin it all.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about the Lament. There must be a Castlevania game with Lament in the title.
Yeah, there is. Lament of Innocence, I think.
Yeah, we'll got that. That can be Xbox. It's just all about Xbox. How are you doing?
Was there 3?
We haven't had a check-in.
Oh, well, I thought there was that 3 cards, or was that it? Was it just 2?
We did 4. We did 2 of each. Well,
okay.
One of each if you like.
No, it's all right. We can keep them. Save your ripping up muscles for one.
We have a
we'll never finish them all.
We'll have a lot, so we can go. Let's just do 2 more while we're at it. It gives me good TikTok footage.
Lament of Innocence is the PS2 one that came before Curse of Darkness, actually.
Yes, it's all about Mixer. There we go. There's the joke I was trying to make. What's the name of the popular dance song near the beginning of the Rocky Horror Picture Show? I've never seen that.
The Time Warp.
Yes. Well done, Alex. Have you seen that movie?
Very, very, very long time ago. I'm not a big fan of it, but that song comes up.
Is your mum not
every
into
now and again?
Musicals? Is she?
She might have been. I know a friend of mine at school was really into Rocky Horror for some reason. He had like a Rocky Horror birthday party one year when he was like 5.
Hope you all did the Time Warp.
We did, I believe.
Excellent. Another one that likes dancing. In the movie of the same name, who plays the greatest showman? Weirdly, I would have got this. Never seen
Hugh Jackman?
Yes, he's got it.
Hugh Jazz.
Good old Wolverine himself.
Yeah, old Logie. I've never seen that, and I never will.
Nope. And the final gaming card. I think, looking at the answers and not the questions, I'm going to guess that you will get both of these. What is the full name of the 9'6" in tall, 9'6" That'll be why. Well, that's what that says.
Yeah.
Tall vampire-like antagonist in Resident Evil Village.
Lady Dimitrescu.
He's nailed that.
I'm not saying Dimitrescu because that doesn't make sense.
Nope. Which famous wrestler had a cameo appearance in Saints Row 4? Harder question than I thought the answer was going to be.
Yeah, sorry, say that again.
Which famous wrestler had a cameo appearance in Saints Row 4? I wouldn't know it.
Ooh. Well, now I need to play that game, unless it's a shit wrestler.
It's not, I don't think. I believe it's not.
Which wrestler had a cameo appearance in Saints Row 4? That was on, like, probably Xbox One. Oh, man. Who would even be relevant to put in that game?
I'm not sure who was relevant when this game came out.
Okay. Samoa Joe. It's not going to be Samoa Joe.
Would Ronda Rousey have been around? She was in him for a little while. Rowdy Roddy Piper.
Wow, really?
Yeah, apparently. When did he die? He's dead, like long dead, right?
Relatively, yeah. Because he was doing. He's probably died in the last decade.
Okay.
Because he was doing Always Sunny a couple of times as well, so maybe that's why. Maybe he was just trying to get a bit of acting work.
Could have been.
Have you ever seen They Live with him in it?
I feel like I've seen They Live.
The one where he puts on his glasses and he can see that people are actually aliens.
No, I've not seen this. This looks amazing.
Oh, mate, that is such a you film. You're gonna really enjoy that. It's proper like late 80s, 90s cheesy shit, but with the premise that I actually really like. I really think it's very cool that he puts on his glasses. He can see that there's like aliens walking among us. It's just him and who else is in it? Is it Danny Glover? Keith David. That's it.
Another man that will be in Saints Row 4.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Maybe he got him the gig.
Yeah. Other famous people. Yeah. Someone called Meg Foster. Don't recognize her. No. Peter Jason. I do recognize him, but I couldn't tell you anything he's in. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that. They Live 1988. It's on Amazon Prime apparently. So
yeah, it's worth your time. Just to say you've seen it and you've seen Rowdy Roddy Piper say that he says the line from Duke Nukem. He says he's here to kick ass and chew bubblegum and he's all out of gum. That's where they stole it from.
Excellent. There
you go. Everything goes back to video games.
It does. Talking of video games, will we get on with some chat about Castlevania?
Yeah, let's bloody well do it. I gorged on this series for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Oh yeah, because I think I said it to you twice. I feel like I played this game not rapidly, but certainly not slowly, and you just left me for dust in this. You were like, you sent me a picture, and I felt like a day or 2 days later, you were sending me pictures of your completed second game, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, I think I'd already finished Aria before you even started. And then what's funny as well is actually that I started playing Dawn on the DS when I was on holiday, and then
did you?
My 3DS has got a really annoying thing where, because of how I hold it, like for some reason I rest my little fingers on the underside of it to kind of like keep it. Do you do that?
I always found it a difficult console to hold for long periods of time.
And because the cartridges go in the bottom left-hand corner, I must be doing a thing where I'm accidentally like pressing the cartridge in a little bit, and it basically like fucks the game and it makes the game sort of eject itself. So it did that when I hadn't saved it for ages, and I was like, I'm just gonna have to play Dawn of Sorrow on the Switch, even though I hate the fact that the map screen is initially incredibly small and therefore pointless.
I guess we probably had a similar problem because I played both of these games on my deck for the most part. And yeah, the screen, and I mean, it sort of you sort of get used to it, and it just becomes a good sort of orientation device having that on screen all the time. But yeah, so when I first started playing, I was like, this is unusable, especially because it defaults to having three different screens going on at the same time. I know that it's not a thing in the DS game at all, because obviously it's on a different screen. Yeah. Weirdly, on the DS version as well, the map is on the top screen, which is dumb, because that's the worst. Yeah, it's the more high fidelity screen, right? The bottom screen's not as
exactly
detailed.
Weird. Clearly, because of the fact that they want
because you've got to do the touch stuff.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But I'd much rather be able to draw on the map, please, and mark things that I need to go back to, like the Zelda games were letting us do. That would have been helpful.
That would have been really good, actually, wouldn't it?
But the fact that the Dominus Collection versions don't have a dedicated button to press just to see the map on the full screen is shocking. It can't have been that. You've got a button for the status page. Just give me a button for the map screen as well, because there are sometimes where I really don't want to have to squint that much to see what's going on, and it's just weird. So I kind of had to. Luckily, you can kind of change the two of them to be either exactly the same size, but therefore you lose quite a lot of real estate on the actual playing side of the screen. So I kind of had mine one down from that, where the map was a little bit smaller than the gameplay screen. But it's just not ideal in any scenario. And I'm not doing that on my TV either. I played that on my TV, and it was just stupid. Like looking at three little boxes on your TV on like a 50-inch TV screen. It's like, well, this is terrible. I don't know how they whiffed that so bad, but there we go.
Yeah, especially because they did give you choices to sort of try and tailor your experience a bit in terms of if you want to have a couple. Like you can rearrange your screen a bit, but yeah, it's a strange omission, because otherwise it's a very, very good port, and it's weird. I don't know why I find it weird, but it was a pleasant surprise that the touch screen on my deck just worked seamlessly with it, and I was just I can just play this normally. It's great. It didn't argue with me in the slightest. Whereas, like, I feel like DS emulation can be a bit whiffy sometimes. Whereas all to say is they've clearly put the work in to have decent versions of these games available on modern hardware, which is great, because there are too many games sort of lost to the annals of time on different pieces of hardware. So it's nice to have them. There are also
too many bad Konami collections of things as well.
I find it interesting that they've sort of broken up and I probably like it that way, but they haven't gone chronology in their collections. They've sort of broken their collections up onto platform by what I can tell, because I assume the other Castlevania games in the collections that I bought were the other GBA games and DS games, respectively. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah,
the first one, the Advance collection, is obviously, as the title suggests, all the Game Boy Advance ones, and then the other one is the DS ones.
Probably more likely to be quite straightforwardly chronological in terms of release. Yeah, rather than
timeline. Let's not talk about the timeline.
No, I've
goes all over the bloody place.
I stared at that screen a lot.
Yeah, well, if you've got that on your notes, then that would be good.
Yeah, I do. Yes.
Okay, good.
It's wild. I paid very little attention to the story, especially in.
You did. I remember you watching you stream it. And you're just skipping the dialogue. I thought, well, he's obviously not going to talk about that on the pod.
I am. I've done my research. I've caught up.
The stories aren't. I mean, it's kind of cool that your protagonist can become Dracula as you play. But firstly, the first game has an antagonist called Graham, which is
I like that.
Stupid. And then, as I said, the second game has a leader of a cult that doesn't even fight you, which is
she's
really
dressed
weird.
like a hippie as well. Like like a hippie mum is how I describe her.
Yeah, definitely. She has absolutely got one of those stands at a car boot where no, everything here I make myself. Okay.
And she's selling
Get a fucking job.
Selling rice pudding made with her own breast milk and stuff like that.
Oh, my mate's sister used to do. That was basically her income. Was she just went to like hippie fairs and sold like friendship bracelets and stuff.
Maybe check back in with her in 2035. See, she's gone off to the Eclipse Castle or whatever it is.
Yeah, absolutely. She sold. Did she have a house? No, I think maybe she did, or it was a car or something.
And then
she basically
went to
sold
see the
something
and got stuck in another dimension.
She bought a camper van to live in. She sold her house or something to go live in a camper van, and I remember she thought she was a witch, and she had a bumper sticker on her thing that said something like "My other car is a broomstick" or something, and obviously my mate hates this woman, but she bought a camper van so she could just travel around and be free, and then basically parked up outside his parents' house so she could use their shower every day. I mean, at least she was washing, and not a lot of those people do.
Yeah, that's true. Right, annoyingly, I've tried to keep this.
But yeah, she looks like the Celia or whatever the fuck her name is in this game.
I'll try and bash through as ever, Alex. Feel free to jump in, correct, just add colour whenever you like, so that I'm not just speaking all the time. But yeah, like I say, let's start with a bit of an intro and a blurb about these games. Well, actually, yeah. So I've also said, firstly, that as these are direct sequels to each other, it's interesting to see, which you've touched on already, I think, Alex. Igarashi and his teams approach the opportunities and limitations of each console. And being that these are direct sequels, we see a lot of recurring enemies throughout the games. Characters, obviously, and as well as move sets spanning the devices. But I guess we can get into that at some point after we've done the plot. Aria of Sorrow was released in Europe on the 9th of May 2003 and is set in the year 2035, which I believe makes Aria of Sorrow and Dawn of Sorrow the two most modern games in the Castlevania timeline. But all to say that this is something chronologically like 60 years after the events of Castlevania Portrait of Ruin, which at the time of release of these games hadn't actually been released. So at the time of release, this was following on from the events of Castlevania Bloodlines, I believe.
That's World War One, isn't it?
Yes, which released on the Sega Mega Drive, and it was set in the year 1917.
That's a great game, by the way. We ran out of time this year, but I did initially want us to play like that and the SNES one, so you could kind of see the previous kind of style. Yeah, because I think both those games, the SNES and the Mega Drive one, are really, really good. They're not obviously like this. They're not Metroidvanias. They are just sort of platformers with levels and stuff. But some really cool like visual tricks and stuff in that. The Mega Drive one has like a level in it where like it's flooding, and you have to kind of use the reflection in the water to kind of do platforming at times, and there's a bit where you have to cut it's in like Greece. That one's set across Europe like during the war or whatever, and you've got to cut like the head off of a Greek statue to make it fall in the water to create a platform. It's got some cool shit going on. I'm interested to like when we get to these over the subsequent years, because aside from the games that we've played for this podcast, my experience is again watching Giant Bomb videos where they were playing through the Castlevania games, and for a while in Aria of Sorrow, my favourite weapon was like the chain whip thing, which I think is a sort of big weapon from what I saw in people playing other games throughout the series. Yeah, that was that like the whip sword thing,
something like that. Yeah, I may be.
It's a shame that was so underpowered because I didn't
have it for long, but I loved it.
Yeah, I was very pleased to see more whips available in Dawn of Sorrow, because it just feels more Castlevania to have a whip going on if you're that side of the Dracula bloodline, I guess. Yeah. Did you? I'm assuming you didn't. On Dawn of Sorrow, did you try You finished it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you try the Julius mode afterwards?
No.
Oh, okay. So I can't remember.
Is this the mode where you go back into the castle and it's almost like the bad ending where Soma, whatever he's called, becomes the Dracula or the reincarnated Dracula, and you've got to go back in and kill him? Because if you get two different endings and you get a different mode that unlocks.
It might be. I think it might be that. I can't actually remember if that was why Julius was doing it, or whether it was just like a concurrent thing. You might be right though. But yeah, basically you just play as Julius Belmont with the vampire killer. I think he's got the vampire killer. So you don't like take any of the souls from the enemies, or it's kind of like in I'm pretty sure you can do it in Symphony of the Night, where you can play as Richter Belmont after you finish that game as well. Yeah. And again it's not, you're not getting any of their weapons or level up or anything like you do with Alucard. You're just effectively playing a standard Castlevania moveset character thing through all the levels in the game.
I like that. That makes.
I played quite a lot of the Julius mode this time. I quite enjoyed it.
It makes gameplay. It makes sort of gameplay and story sense to not be absorbing the souls like that, I guess. The 1917 set game was set around a race to resurrect Dracula. Again, all to say that following the events of the game...
Oh, they all are!
Yeah. Dracula's demise was seemingly permanent after this game, with the castle being sealed inside a solar eclipse. And I can't really get my head around what on earth that means, how you get inside a solar eclipse.
Anyway, I don't know either.
Cue the entry from stage left of Soma Cruz, a teenager in the year 2035 who finds himself trapped inside the solar eclipse with a new set of powers, being required to grow and utilize these so that he and his friend can escape, forcing him to do battle against a host of different enemies seeking to harness Dracula's powers, introducing the concept of the tactical soul system that enables players to absorb properties of defeated enemies to use to their advantage, which is something that seems to have become a series staple since. Would that be a fair comment? I mean, I'm sort of basing this on it's quite a major component of sorts within the Bloodstained franchise, which is a sort of spiritual successor, right?
Yes, I would say that's probably where it's come back the most. There's I played quite a lot of Portrait of Ruin after this as well, and there's nothing of that in there.
Okay.
You do get some powers from enemies, but they kind of drop them as like scrolls. And
remind me, it's part of Symphony of the Night is sort of in there, right? Have I made that up? No, maybe it's not actually.
No, Symphony of the Night, you don't get...
collect souls to upgrade your weapons and that then. Is that what I'm remembering?
I think you just got them as your special powers, right? Like the actual moves that you needed to do. I don't remember you getting like... I
vaguely remember turning into a bat in that game, which I think is where I've sort of pulled that.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the things that he does do. But it's certainly not as fleshed out as here, where every single enemy will drop a soul that you can then use. And you know what? I didn't know. Or at least I had not paid attention to or realised. In Dawn of Sorrow, I think it's just in Dawn of Sorrow.
Yeah.
You know when you said to me, I was watching you play it, and you said, "Oh, I've got loads of these souls. What's the point of having more than one? They stack and get better the more you have."
Okay.
So if the maximum you can have of one soul is 9. But if you had 9 of one of the souls and you used that as one of your things, it would be like significantly better.
Right, okay.
Which adds a whole nother level of like farming complexity to that game.
Yeah, it does. I mean, yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you remind me who the big bad was in Bloodstained? Is it Dracula? Is he sort of... Did they get I'll just use him again?
I think it was some woman... I actually can't remember, but it wasn't Dracula. Either. I don't think he would dare go touch Dracula over there, just in case.
Yeah,
I know that David Hayter was a character in there that you had to fight for a bit. Remember that old Solid Snake? He was some sort of samurai guy.
Yeah, that game was just insane, and it's funny playing the Castlevania games after having played the Bloodstained games, because I think it wasn't a complaint, but a sort of observation of the Bloodstained games was that like it was like. artistically incoherent. Basically, like you go into one room and there'd be like just enemies that change room to like a cat in one room, and then just like, I don't know, like a flying saucer or like a flying candlestick in the next. Like nothing ever made sense. And this game, actually, these two games, sorry, I felt like they kind of do approach that a little bit. Like thematically within rooms, they'll make sense. You'll encounter a witch, and then you'll encounter like apprentice witch that will just be lobbing cats at you. But then you go into
which is a great
room.
soul to steal and just throw cats at enemies. Useless, but very funny.
And then you go to another room, and then there's like I don't know, some sort of werewolf, and then the next room there's a demon, and then the next room there's like a really.
How does Dracula get anything done in that place?
I don't know. Just like a really tall Frankenstein-looking dude that just goes around trying to boot you in the head every time you go near him.
Yeah, that one that just stands on his own in front of that wall. Yeah.
It's just mad. Yeah. It's absolutely mental.
Yeah, I think like the anime specifically sort of suggests that, like, you know, they're all, it's kind of like Doom. They're all just being conjured from wherever the hell wherever Dracula resides. He's just conjuring demon spawn upon you, rather than, you know, they're all roommates of his in his castle, which it would be very funny.
Yeah. Oh, don't
imagine trying to get
having your mum over to stay. Oh, by the way, mum, don't go down there. That's where the fish boy stays. He'll jump at you. Like,
yeah, don't pull up the fucking weeds in the Garden of Madness. If those dogs bark all night long, I'm never gonna get to sleep.
And then there's like the things that look like those are things that look like they're from Harry Potter. You know, like those plants that you pull.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a little like suicide bomber plants. Yeah, very weird.
But yes, like I say, this sees Soma explore Dracula's old castle after he gets into the eclipse, doing battle with various foes, and assuming players go looking for the good ending, leads players to battling for control of Dracula's powers and then escaping from the solar eclipse. Returning to their old lives as a result, with a big twist at the end being that it turns out that Soma is a reincarnation of Dracula. However, he is able to resist the pull of the corruption of the powers that comes with it, to have a nice happy ending, I guess, or so we thought.
Yeah.
Which I guess leads us on to Dawn of Sorrow, which is released in the DS, and as I've said a couple of times now, this is the direct sequel to Aria of Sorrow, meeting players in Europe this came out to players in Europe on the 30th of September 2005. Players reprise their role controlling Soma crews and discover that a cult this time has formed around the idea of bringing forth a new Dark Lord.
Within like the first 3 seconds of the game, they're just standing in a town, and then bang, cult, fuck you, Dracula, see ya.
Which again, like, see, like, having skipped a lot of I sort of read the beginning of the dialogue and then skipped a lot since. I don't feel like I actually missed out on that much. It just sort of like goes bang, 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 cult. Oh, check all these characters that you remember playing. Then I'd like dip out for a little bit. Then I'd go back and speak to, is it Mira or someone like that? And then you should be like, you know, that old soldier guy, he just keeps making faces at me. I don't think he likes me. And then you're like, oh, it's not that he doesn't like you. And she's like, can you have a word with him? And he's like, yeah, I suppose so.
Oh, yeah, Mina Hakuba.
That's it.
She was, well, I think it might have been Yoko that was talking about Hammer looking at her,
that
wasn't
makes sense, because Mina gets killed, right?
Yeah, that's his like childhood friend.
Yeah.
And then, Yoko's like the exorcist woman who can do your souls into the weapons thing.
Yeah. Because I did find it, and I guess like going back and rereading the plot and stuff, it starts to make sense, because at the sort of early third to half of that game, all your sort of returning cast of characters are just seemingly trying to get you out of the way. But then if I guess people are trying to harness Dracula's powers, maybe keeping you out of the way is a good idea, rather than them just going, you're a teenager that is already beating a chaos demon, blah, 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 you're not good enough. It's like, well, I have fought Element, I fought Chaos, I fought Death, I fought Balor twice, like, I think I'm quite up to this.
That Yoko, she's from the clan that also had a member that was in the anime Sci-Fi. I don't know if you ever watched any of the animes, but one of the main characters in that. The two main protagonists, she is like related to Yoko. They're from the same sort of clan.
Okay, yes, like I say, they discover that a cult is formed around the idea of bringing forth a new Dark Lords, and Soma's resisted the temptation and sort of left the job open, so to speak. As part of this, the cult is required to kill Soma, leading to Soma and his allies to fight together and avoid this, allowing the player to be reintroduced to, like we've just spoken about, many of the characters from the GBA game. And as the story unfolds, it becomes apparent that in addition to defeating the cult, Soma will once again have to resist becoming consumed by the dark powers.
Of course he will.
And I didn't, like I said, again, like I've already said, I didn't do a good job of following the story in this game, but apparently this culminates in a battle with a boss known as Menace, I think it is called. And if you're wearing Mina's talisman when you do this, he's able to escape and survive and draw the corruption and survive the corruption once more. I didn't survive in this my playthrough. But if he doesn't have the talisman, then you become a full reincarnation of Alucard, and his friends are forced to enter the castle and kill their once friend, which I wonder if that's what the added mode that you spoke about is.
Yeah.
I've obviously spoken about what I think about these stories. Do you pay much attention to the stories? Did you enjoy them? Are they just sort of background noise? I mean, for me, it's all about set the scene and then let me get on with the game. And they sort of do that. And then I just sort of ignored every other bit of story padding around it for the most part, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Because it seems quite deep and thought out, this story.
Yeah, it's it is without ever really kind of developing a lot from it. It all just...
Because both of these are quite similar, right? In terms of like broad strokes.
Yeah.
They're narratively very similar.
I mean, they don't have a lot of games really in the Castlevania pantheon that bring back a protagonist. Really, it's usually Did we talk about this before? I can't remember when we talked about it. Where how I think
so it might have been a big deal that Soma came back then.
Oh no, but I swear I brought it up where like Igarashi or whatever was saying that they really regretted having it so that Dracula could only be resurrected once every 200 years, so they had to like split the timelines like fucking crazy.
Right, okay. I guess they kind of boxed themselves in with that.
Yeah, but I mean, every single one of these games, like the kind of grounding of the lore of Castlevania, I think is really cool. You've got like the Belmont clan on one side, this like legendary lineage of vampire hunters who all use this sacred whip, the vampire killer. In Portrait of Ruin, you play like the son of one of the guys from that Mega Drive game who is friends with one of the Belmonts, and so that you sort of like get hold of the vampire killer in that as you're playing this John Morris guy, and like you're not able to use it properly, but if you do use it, it can consume your soul and stuff. And so you've got like that clan of these vampire hunters versus Dracula himself and all of his minions and stuff, and the people attempting to resurrect him and all that. I love all that. I think that's really, really cool. It's one of the biggest draws to this franchise.
Sure.
But there's only so many times you can tell the story of people want to resurrect Dracula and let's try and stop him from being resurrected. Oh, he got resurrected. Never mind. We'll have to fight him. So, I like the fact that you're playing as the guy who could actually technically be Dracula in the end. And I
was going to say that.
With Alucard as well. Well, is he Alucard or is he...
I don't know the difference between Alucard and Dracula. I always thought they were sort of one and the same.
Oh, Alucard is Dracula's son.
Right, okay.
I think. But that Genya Aricado is Alucard. I think.
Right, okay.
Hold on. Because it says his alternate name is Alucard. And I think he says that at some point.
So he's a reincarnated Alucard, and you're a reincarnated Dracula. Yeah,
unless Genya is just Alucard because he just doesn't die from old age. Why is the wiki not immediately just saying he is Alucard? What the fuck? Hold on. Here we go. It's because they called him Adrian Fahrenheit Tepes, which is Alucard. So he is the son. He's the Dampier son of Dracula. So Alucard is a Dampier, which is like half human, half vampire, isn't
Dampier. I thought you said Dampier, like as in more damp.
Yeah,
he's just a bit more wet than.
So
like
yes,
eyes wet in the water or something. I don't know.
He is like a gremlin.
Yeah.
Yes. So Genya Aricado, who's like the guy who kind of talks to you quite a bit, he is the alter ego of Alucard, who is the son of Dracula.
Right, okay.
Who, of course, we play as in Symphony of the Night.
Okay. Yeah, I like that these are tied together, and I bet there's a lot of people that get really into this.
Yeah. I just, it's fine. I think the story is fine. It's probably a little bit.
I think the concept
talky.
is more interesting than the actual delivery of the story itself. Like the idea, again, like that you're reincarnated versions of the bad guy in this game from previous games, and that you're right, like the lineage of the family, and that when you encounter a Belmont, it's quite a big thing in these games. And I also like that in Aria of Sorrow that you end up fighting a Belmont. That's a cool moment that you're like, oh, this is really cool. This is like the two big dogs coming to blows, so to speak, which I really liked. It's sort of premise and moments, I think, that I like about the story in this game rather than the actual story itself.
I think the problem with the first game is Graham is just a bit dull.
He's great.
And he's got a silly name. And in the second game, the cult leader, like I said, she's completely useless. And I think like her two, what do they call them? Like contenders for Dracula's, to be the reincarnation.
Team Rocket gang she's got going on.
Yeah, they're just a bit useless and rubbish.
They
like
are.
one of them kind of looks like a mix of the fire guy from Fantastic Four and Wolverine. Yeah. Like just like Wolverine with red hair.
Yeah,
in fact, a character like that kind of already exists anyway. And you just beat the shit out of them really easily as well.
Yeah.
And they were never going to be the main villains. Like you always knew that there's always going to be some kind of horrible, like evil force that you're going to have to defeat in a boss that in the case of Dawn of Sorrow is multi-screen filling. So they kind of just they're sort of the meat before the bread before you actually get to the meat.
Yeah.
So they just kind of serve to waste your time effectively and get in your way.
Yeah, they kind of do. I thought we could also talk about the reception of this game. So, these games, Aria of Sorrow appears to have had a bit of a mixed success. Both of these games, I will say, actually, and I don't know if I've got this written later on, but both of these games review incredibly well. The critical reception of these games is very high. It's more that I don't know if this is true across all Castlevania games, but both of these games seem to have received incredibly weak sales when released in Japan, and then when they come to the West, the sales are much stronger. That sort of turns the game from being a bit of a sort of commercial failure into something that's a bit more successful in both.
Okay. I'm surprised by the Japan sales being low, but
I thought it seems like the kind of game to me that would do well in Japan, but maybe not.
Especially when they're obviously then trying to do anime for them. We changed it from Gothic to pure anime, and you still didn't buy it.
But yeah, like I say, it's got lackluster sales in Japan, but more positive sales in Western markets, despite mixed successes dependent on the territory. Aria of Sorrow was generally, like I say, it's looked at, or at least at the time of release, it was looked at as the best Castlevania since Symphony of the Night.
It was. It definitely was.
Is it still?
I think I do prefer Dawn, so I would say Dawn probably is.
Yeah.
Which is why I've been desperate for you to play these two games since then, because I know obviously we both really love Symphony of the Night and we enjoyed Bloodstained, but these two have always felt to me like the two closest experiences within the within the franchise of Castlevania to Symphony of the Night. And of course, there are 2 more on the DS, GBA, and 2 more on the DS that play in a similar style. But these come closest in terms of like being in a castle that is Dracula's, whereas the other games kind of like Portrait of Ruin. It's like I can't remember what you're actually in. I don't think it might be a castle again, but there's also parts of it where you go into paintings and then it takes you off to like, one's like a sort of looks like a Victorian village and one's like a Egyptian setting, and one of them's I can't remember what the other ones are. And then the last one, I can't remember what the last one's called now. What is the last one called?
What console are we talking about again? Sorry, the
DS ones.
The DS. There's Dawn of Sorrow,
Order of Ecclesia.
There you go.
Yeah, that is set in like a different sort of village. I can't remember what that is, but yeah, these are like the ones that seem to follow closest to like what Symphony of the Night was going for. And of course, as we said earlier, like when they were releasing one on the PS2 at the same time as Dawn of Sorrow, they were clearly still trying to figure out 3D Castlevania at that point. And I know those games are kind of like high 70s, low 80s rated, and people look back on them quite fondly now, the PS2 ones. I think largely people didn't think until we got Lords of Shadow that we'd had a decent 3D Castlevania. Certainly the N64 ones didn't do much for that. There'd been some terrible fighting games in there as well. So to get like there was no direct sequel to Symphony of the Night, to get like the closest thing to that, and you were going on these handheld ones, and the first 2 GBA ones are fine, but Aria of Sorrow was definitely the peak on that system for sure. Dawn of Sorrow, I guess, that's up for interpretation.
Order of Ecclesia is the sort of canonical sequel to Symphony of the Night, apparently.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, so Symphony of the Night is set in 1797 AD, and then Order of Ecclesia is 18 ? So it's sort of some time after, and then comes before 1917 with Bloodlines and the Genesis. Yeah, so they've certainly supported different consoles with these games. A lot of sort of re-releases or reworkings of different video games, I would assume. So, like, we've got Sega Saturn, which just seems to be Symphony of the Night again. Symphony of the Night also came out.
Not a good version on that one, unfortunately.
No. And then they've got Rondo of Blood, Richter Belmont, which came out in the TurboGrafx. And they seem to be saying, which is the same game as something called Dracula X.
Yeah.
That also came out on the Super Nintendo. And then we've got Dracula X Chronicles on the PSP, which is a similar... It shoots off to the side, which means it's the same game, right?
That is basically like a remaster of... like a remake of both of those games. So, Dracula X... I think, was on the SNES, nowhere near as good as Rondo of Blood, which is the one that we never got over here for a long while until they got re-released on Xbox Live. Okay. And then, but Dracula X Chronicles is like a remake of it for the PSP. Sort of like a 2.5D one. Yeah.
I guess we'll come back to these games, but there lots of games to be getting through with these.
You should have Rondo of Blood, if I remember rightly, because that came in a 2-pack with Symphony of the Night when we played it, whenever we did.
I'm sure I've seen it. So I guess we've got that to get
to. That's a tough game, that is. That's hard. Okay. Yeah.
Where did we get to in my notes? Dawn of Sorrow, as I've said, also sold sluggishly in Japan, with the Western release again being much more successful. Early reviews of the game highlighted its similarity to Aria of Sorrow, which I think is probably fair.
Yeah, but it was like the actual follow-on, wasn't it?
Yes.
You had like the 2 GBA ones came before and the 2 other DS ones came after. So these are follow-ons.
This might seem contradictory, but I do think it's true. I would say it's also fair that the Dawn of Sorrow does manage to sort of stand up as its own thing in its own right. It sort of differentiates itself about enough to feel like its own thing, I think, even though there are obvious similarities. Would you agree, or am I
agree.
just
Yeah,
being unfair or being too fair?
I think if it wasn't for the touchscreen stuff, there is an argument to be had that although Aria of Sorrow in isolation is a very good game, if you only had one, or you were only going to play one, I don't think many people would say to play Aria over Dawn. I would have thought, but that, or would they? I mean, what is your thoughts? I don't know if we actually discussed that yet. Whether you think, you asked me if they're the best games since Symphony of the Night. I think they are. Obviously, you've not played as many as I have, but what's your favourite of the two?
That's a really hard question, actually. I think, like, given that I'm playing these on a modern piece of hardware, like, I don't know. I think I can sort of talk myself round to both. I'm going to be completely unhelpful here, but I think I can talk myself round to both sides. Like, I sort of agree with you insofar as that the Dawn of Sorrow is the more complete, fleshed out experience. There's more variety to it in every regard. Both, I think, although there are repeating enemies, but there's more of them. The castle feels more. It feels different in a way that there was a lot of repeating areas. I suppose we'll get to it with Aria of Sorrow, but the chaos area at the end of that first game was just the sort of general sort of, I don't know, like dungeon area, but they'd just blown the colours out so that you maybe couldn't tell. Like there's reasons for that, obviously. But then you're right. I also found that the way the screen was managed in these sort of remakes, re-releases or whatever you want to call them, they're not remakes. It was quite off-putting, and it was nice just to have the whole screen with Aria of Sorrow. I'm also struggling because I'm aware of the hardware in which Aria of Sorrow comes from. Like, I don't think I'm ever not going to be amazed at how fully fleshed out and complete a Castlevania experience that game is for something that in my head was on it's on the Game Boy Advance, which is an incredibly weak console. Like, I think you mentioned it when we were texting. It's a 2-button game essentially, and it just blows my mind that I don't feel like I was shortchanged in any way. Which I think when I was younger, wrongly so, may have been a reason that I would have avoided handhelds because they felt like lesser experiences of the big console equivalents, whereas this didn't. It just doesn't. It feels like a full-blown Castlevania game to me. Yeah. So I think...
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because, like, you know, the GBA came out at a time when we were basically in GameCube era, and we were... But for all intents and purposes, as far as I can remember, it was more powerful, effectively, than the SNES. Certainly capable of more, you know, better fidelity and graphics and more colors and stuff. Not sound chip wise, that's for sure. But that was the big thing about the GBA, was like, oh, we've got like a SNES in our hands, and that's what they kept releasing all the, you know, the Mario Advance games and all that kind of stuff. So I suppose the fairer comparison for Aria of Sorrow is probably not to Symphony of the Night. It's probably going to be more to something like Super Metroid, and whether you think that it can stand up against something like that in terms of, well, it's certainly shorter than that. I would say it's a lot easier than that. I think Aria of Sorrow, out of the two games here we're talking about, is definitely the easier of the two.
I would describe myself as much more of a Castlevania dude than a Metroid dude. I don't think I don't want to pass. I don't want that to be reflective of like what I think of the quality, but like in terms of my own taste, when I read, when I watch films, and when I play games, I'm much more drawn to a fantasy setting than I am a sci-fi setting. And I think that's why it's partly why I like these games so much. I think it stands up very well, Aria of Sorrow, but I think so too. And ultimately, I probably agree with you. If you're trying to recommend which one does someone play, Dawn of Sorrow is probably the better, more complete game. I don't think it's really got much that Aria of Sorrow does better. It just sort of takes everything that Aria does it again, and then sort of layers more onto it. I will say, I probably because I just wasn't paying enough attention, I'll take that on as myself. I found that the putting in the souls shapes, what is it called? It's not the souls. The seals. The seals.
Magic
I
seals.
find that annoying.
Mate, I don't think there's anybody that doesn't think that is annoying, because I don't understand what they thought was fun about it.
Yeah.
It's just really gimmicky. As we've already said, it takes away from being able to draw on the map, because we had to have that on the screen instead. The first one is just a V shape, and then all of a sudden after that, you're drawing like some kind of constellation on there.
Yeah.
And it's just like you'll be in the full flow of a boss fight, and they can be tricky. And certainly in Dawn of Sorrow, some of the bosses are like incredible. They're so good.
Yeah.
You'll be having loads of fun, you're scraping your way through it, and then it'll just flash this shit up on the screen, draw a really complicated shape super quickly. You're then timed in your response of doing it, and if you even make one tiny mistake, and we all know touchscreens, especially on the bloody DS, were never the most accurate of input devices. If you make one mistake, then the boss just gets health back, and you just have to carry on going.
Does it eventually die? Because I was just using heavy utilization of the rewind feature that this version of the game comes with. If you just cannot get that right, does it eventually just say, okay, you've got him?
I kept forgetting to do the rewind when I was doing the bosses. So from what I could see, when I'd already failed it twice, the third time it basically was like, right, press this button. Okay, now this one. All right, now you're going to go here. So it just like basically lets you take as long as you need to do it.
Right, okay.
On the third go. It's such a shit mechanic. Like the worst part of the game.
Other than that, I think the DS integration is largely pretty good. Like a lot of it's quite arbitrary. Like getting rid of the ice blocks, but that kind of stuff is fine. And as much as I moaned about it, the actual mechanics of doing the slide puzzle where you're trying to join the different rooms together turned out to be really good fun.
Yeah, but that wasn't even a touchscreen thing, was it? Or was it?
It was for me.
Oh yes, it was. Sorry, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think that's that appears to be gimmicky at first, but when you actually think about how they're utilizing a touchscreen to make you be able to move rooms of the castle around, that's actually really, really cool, isn't it?
Really cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think largely it's pretty good. I didn't.
I feel some level of guilt around this podcast needing to be done in this month, and having two games, and me having played the two games as quickly as possible because I love them, that you may have felt the pressure to finish the second one and not been able to sit and enjoy it for what it actually is as much as you probably would have wanted to. So maybe some of the frustrations with like, oh God, I've got to go for how many times have I got to go through and change these rooms around before I can just get on with the game, sort of thing. I can see that creeping in as a sort of concern at the time when you're just trying to beat the game.
It was genuinely,
to a time limit, effectively.
Genuinely, it wasn't that. It was because the map screen was so small. I was struggling to keep track of where I had been and where I hadn't been.
Yeah.
In addition to stuff that, like, knowing that I had been, like, remembering it's like, oh, I've been there. I can't get there because I don't have the water, the soul that'll let me sink in water. And then I'll be looking at the map for a place to go, and I'll be like, oh, I better go there. I don't know if I've not been down there, and I'll go down there and it'll be the water area again. And then I'll be, I've been here like 3 times now. So then when I saw the room thing, I'm like, am I going to have to remember to come back to this room puzzle like 3 times throughout this game? Which you don't have to do.
No, that was worse for me in Aria, the one where there was an area that you had to go through that was effectively like you had to walk off. and like the side of somewhere, and then it was like the map bits were all like across the top of the screen.
Oh yeah, when that started, I was like, oh, how am I even going to remember this? And then,
yeah, like because they're not linked, they're not actually physically linked to the main map. So I kept forgetting, like, how do I get up to those stupid squares at the top again?
Yeah, and depending on which way you go through the door, changes where you come out as well.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. No. Yeah, that almost felt like it was just randomizing where you turn up when you go through it. Yeah, I actually tried to debunk that myself because I was like, I swear this is just changing every time I go through the door. It's not the same every time I've been. I'm going to go back and see if it's the room I just came from, and it wasn't. I was just like, what is happening? But then it was, I think after the first go, it did seem to kind of stay uniform in what it was doing. But yeah, like the touchscreen, the little ice block thing. I mean, yeah, whatever. It is what it is.
It's fine.
But I think for the most part, like the main things we're talking about, obviously graphically, the DS version or the DS game is far above the GBA one, and it not just like in terms of what it's actually able to do in terms of like sprite complexity, but you know, the backgrounds where they've got the polygonal like sort of faux 3D stuff going on with the parallax scrolling in it. The animations, like some of the animations in Aria of Sorrow are laughably bad. Like every time you got a big weapon in that game, it just kind of looks like Soma's doing a jab and then a giant like axe swing in a semicircle over his head. It made no sense. It just does not link to what you're seeing happen. And it just, nothing really felt very weighty in that game. Everything just kind of felt like a button press and then some silly little animation happens. Whereas in Dawn of Sorrow, when that motherfucker's swinging an axe or whatever, it properly, like the animations are beautiful. They really give weight to every weapon that you have. For the most part, I mean, some weapons, which we can get into in a bit, you know, the variety of weapons is admirable. However, some of the weapons are completely and utterly useless. If you play these games and you use either the fists or the knives, you are a better man than I, sir. Because
I'd say that,
who the hell wants to use a fist?
In maybe again, maybe I just didn't play the game properly, but in my experience, the mechanic of absorbing souls just resulted me in seeing in a Reddit post that the axe was the best weapon in the game. Getting the axe and then just holding on to that for the whole game. I didn't explore the weapons in the way that I did when I was playing Aria of Sorrow, I would say. Yeah,
well, see, it's funny you say that because that was going to be another one of the things that I would have said is better in Dawn as well, is that it allows you to have two separate weapon loadouts so you can switch on the fly. Yes. Because I was then always having like a sort of a faster luck-based build for general, like walking around, especially when backtracking. Yeah. Because I want to be, if I'm going to be killing enemies on my way to get somewhere, I want them to be dropping souls. I think it might have been in, it was in Aria, I think, where I had like some sickles that I was throwing, and I found that you could chuck these deaths. Like I can't remember exactly what they were. I think it was just called a sickle or something. But you could chuck them, and he could do it while moving. And while they were powerful enough to like one-shot enemies, it was such a breeze to get through Aria of Sorrow because most, if not every weapon in those games, he stops to use it. Like he'll stand still and swing it. Whereas those ones you could chuck, you could just keep on walking. Like even the pistols, which are like savagely underpowered. Even the one with the silver bullets in it is like pathetic in those games. You'd expect him to be able to walk and shoot the gun at the same time to kind of speed up what's going on, but nah, it's not happening. The best thing about Aria is the little what do you get at the end? It's like the Black Panther soul or something where he can do the dash move.
Oh yeah.
All the best Metroidvania games at the end of the game give you some kind of ludicrous traversal power that makes getting around completely trivial if they know what they're doing.
That. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like, you know, in Metroid, you've obviously got the the screw attack where she kind of like bounces in the air. Mm-hmm. You can just effectively bounce through your room, and that dash move in the first Aria of Sorrow was absolutely brilliant. And the thing where you can do like the if you pressed L while you were jumping up, you basically just slam his head into the ceiling.
Yes.
Just do a massive jump. That was good fun as well. The dual weapon or the dual build thing in Dawn of Sorrow, I think was a massive like upgrade on Aria, where it just felt like in the first game, as you said, you just go and get the axe, because why would you want to do less power when there's so many enemies in every room? Because there are some rooms in these games, and for the most part, right, I think these two games are effectively, along with Symphony of the Night, like the pinnacle of Igarashi's level design and map design powers. Like, he really got his shit down for these two games. You know, the way they link together, the different types of rooms, just the complexity of the maps are absolutely fantastic. But why I was talking about that. So so while all of that stuff makes for some really, really good maps, there are rooms within those maps where it is just put an enemy on every single pixel of the screen.
Oh my god!
Which
so
is
many times
not
I got
good game design.
Stun locked into oblivion in those areas.
Yeah, and so in that scenario, look, why do I want something that's weaker than the most powerful thing in the game? Because I need to get rid of 1,000 enemies just from every angle at random, some of them turning me to stone while there's spikes everywhere. Like, there's a massive, like, you can get a soul off of every single enemy, and there are so many weapons, but there's just not enough incentive to mix and match and like do anything other than go for power. Whereas I did think that the DS version at least gave me some reason to try and experiment more.
I also felt like it was perhaps hoisted by its own petard in a way, in that giving them credit, a lot of the weapons played and handled very differently from one another. The sort of reality of that, for me at least, I was like, well, this is the best weapon. I need to learn how to use it properly. So me using another weapon is not going to help me be better at using this loopy thing. I need to sort of understand how that works. So I may as well just get the head down and learn it. Which meant I just didn't engage, I think, unless I had to with other weapons. Being able to change the souls for me, interestingly, and it changes souls and it changes your loadout. For me, just to turn my other one, I ended up keeping the same weapon for the most part. It just changed towards a luck build and whatever what you call it, like special power I would be using to traverse the level, whether it was like chucking the dummy or like stuff like that.
You have that. You have those kind of powers on the one build, and then the boss fight build is you don't put anything, you don't muck about with that. Yeah, definitely.
We've sort of been dipping into different bits I wanted to speak to, but we have spoken a bit about the castle design. I did say that I like how fully fledged the GBA castle feels. I think it's I'm probably just not giving the GBA the props it deserves, but I just think it's a marvel that game feels like a fully fledged castle in its own right.
It is.
For the most part, the only time I thought it was sort of compromising on that, like I said, was in the chaos area at the end of the game, where it was just I just didn't enjoy the color palette of that. It was just a blown out area. It took away the map from you, had a confusing level design, and then
no warp points, no save points.
No. The boss at the end,
really bad.
I guess we're probably going to talk about bosses later, but the boss at the end of that area, the chaos god or whatever he is, I thought he was quite fun ultimately. I did enjoy him. That's all I've really got. Have you got any other thoughts about the castle designs?
I'd be interested. I don't know the answer, but I would be interested to see like how many of them effectively like repeated themselves, like almost like literally repeated themselves. Because sometimes they do just have a slightly different name, don't they?
Yes. Yeah, you're probably right.
I just think, like it's kind of hard for me to remember anything kind of standing out necessarily in Aria when Dawn looks so much nicer.
Yeah, you're right. And you were talking about Dawn of Sorrow and stuff, like the attention to detail and the animations and stuff like that. It sounds like a small thing, but in terms of like world building and scene setting, even down to the things like when you would jump in a car that was covered in snow and it would shake the snow off, and until you left the room and came back, there would be less snow in that car. That sort of stuff was really good, and I just like little notes like that. That just sort of just make a place feel more lived in and real. It worked for me.
Yeah, it helps that it's all set to like a real top quality soundtrack as well.
Yeah.
Michiru Yamane, she's written a lot of soundtracks for the series over its history. Certainly with the Igarashi involved, I'm pretty sure she did the Symphony of the Night soundtrack as well. She did her best on the GBA, but those speakers just sound like rotting arse. There was like a, there was a bit of a kind of memory trade-off going on, like a fight internally on the GBA where the sound chips obviously were quite weak, and I don't know if it even really had anything of that ilk on the system itself, and a lot of it I think had to be done cartridge side, and I think they increased a lot of the space for that on the cartridge for Aria of Sorrow to try and, because Harmony of Dissonance, the game before that, was like really criticized for how shit the sounds were, so they really wanted to try and get it as good as they possibly could on the GBA for Aria. And the tunes are absolutely brilliant, but it just sounds not good at all. Whereas on the DS, that stuff starts to properly sing. Yeah, all right, it's not CD quality Symphony of the Night style, but that's definitely some of her best work on the DS one. Like the opening theme alone is just a real like earworm, and every time you go back, it just it sticks in there again. I'd go around humming these all day long after I'd been playing them. Although annoyingly, after I've been playing Aria, it was always the fucking hammer music that got stuck in my head. It's rubbish.
We can cover both games because I think there's a lot of crossover here. What do you think about the enemy designs? See again, like I'm constantly coming back and comparing these games for some reason to Bloodstained, and it makes him. I sort of feel like Igarashi makes more sense now that we've started playing these Castlevania games, because that game just sort of blew my mind, and I was just like, it feels incoherent. I don't think that's necessarily that fair anymore. I can see why someone
I guess it was less of a shock to those who've played enough of his games before. Just like, oh yeah, of course it's filled with bullshit. Like every room's got nonsense in it. Yeah,
there's nonsense.
Just feels right at home.
And there's just like sometimes you walk into a room and you're like, what on earth was going on in his head when this happened? Like the one that jumps out to me for some reason that is just absolutely like mad as a bottle of crisps is the cockatrice. It's just like a giant cockerel that just floats about. Fire.
Turns you to stone.
Yeah, it turns me to stone. Yeah, because like there's some of them that I really like the cockatrice because it just made me laugh, because it's just like, yeah, that's funny. And we've already spoken about it. The apprentice witch that lobs cats around just makes me laugh as well.
I like the farmer, the skeleton farmer. I don't know why he's still a farmer in death, but off he goes. He's got his lovely little like hat and his little like dungarees on and everything, and a little scarf and stuff. Very cute.
But yeah, I did like them.
Some of the enemies are lifted directly from Symphony of the Night and just put into the, sort of repurposed on the DS, which I think was cool.
I'll never get on with the Medusa heads. As soon as I walk in,
they can fuck off.
I start seeing them floating around and I'm like, oh my god! And it was it the DS version that was just nasty, in that they mixed Medusa heads together. So you'd have ones that would turn you to stone, and then ones that would. Is it like not back? There was like a couple versions of Medusa heads that did different things, and basically you would end up getting yourself turned into stone and then smashed into spikes. And you would just you would walk into a room thinking you were doing well, have full health, and then dead. It was like, oh, okay. Yeah, they're just, and you spend so long trying to work your way up to the top of a level and then just get knocked off all the way at the bottom.
Clock tower, man, every time. Every time. They always look really cool because you're going to jump up the cogs and stuff, but there's always those stupid little yellow heads turning you to stone, ruining all your fun.
There's another couple of enemies that I just saw, and like it wasn't that they were bad. They were good. They just sort of filled me with dread. There was one. It was like a flaming horse pulling a chariot.
Oh, those enemies are awesome, but yeah, they suck.
Yeah, I just couldn't keep up with it. I was like, how am I meant to damage this thing? And then the other one was it was almost just like the Terminator walking towards you. You'd go into a water room and there'd be like a merman on top of a clamshell coming towards you as well. It was just like this thing you couldn't do, and it would always be a really narrow roof, so you couldn't jump over it, and you basically just had to hope that you killed it before it took out all the space that you had to get away from it. And
it was the bone arc that got me that way, with those two dickheads carrying the sort of snake's head on the thing.
One, and it was just like because you always killed the first one, which just knocked the thing to like facing right at you.
Yeah, yeah. To just absolutely eviscerates you.
I made what's the soul that is it tactical soul? Anyway, the power that I would make most use of is there was one you could just start firing like laser beams out. It was like little homing missile balls, and I just walk into a room. There was a big enemy. I just start firing those out until it was game over.
Gotta love a bit of soul spamming without even getting anywhere near them.
Yeah,
I've always enjoyed that. What else do I like? I've always enjoyed the kind of shadow blokes holding a sword that can kind of go
you walk
invisible.
in the room and you just see our swords floating in the air. Yeah, because if you hit, I also find it interesting with those bosses. Sorry to just shit on your favorite, one of your favorite enemies. Not shitting on it, but stealing it. When you'd swing at the sword, it would do no damage. You had to hit the invisible enemy behind the sword, which I quite like that as well.
Yeah, I really like that. That was very cool. I don't understand why Cthulhu's in this game. No. He's in both the games as far as I can remember, but there's lots of Cthulhu's and they're quite small. That always made me laugh.
What about the little imps that would come in jabby with a fork and just make you swing your sword over and over?
That's what I was going to say. It's funny because I always called them Fleaman, but it is one word, and you kept calling him Fleaman, and I think I'm calling him Fleaman now as well. Yeah, but that was hilarious watching you fight them. Like very, very funny because they would wind you up because they are just little shits on purpose, just bouncing out the way. And after a while, you do kind of get used to their patterns, and you can kind of volley like a load of them, and it feels really good to kind of get them all while they're trying to jump at you. But yeah, they are a pain in the arse. One of my favorite rooms is you like go for a really long corridor. And I think this is in Dawn of Sorrow, and it's the sort of succubus thing. I think it's a succubus. Yeah, it must be. It's the one where it's like it looks like a normal woman, and then it turns into like the succubus afterwards.
Yeah, and you kill her, and she turns into succubus and just starts like mooching on you if you let her get near you. Yeah,
but there was a one corridor, and there was like 10 of them just kind of standing there, and they didn't attack you. Unless you kind of went near him. So it's just like Dracula. I just always assumed it's like Dracula's got like a room of whores to try and sucker you in. Because you could just go over the top of them and they'd all just kind of look at you and just go past. But if you got near any of them, then they'd turn and then they'd all come after you. I don't know why, but that room always made me laugh. They just lined up the ladies to try and seduce old Soma. But he's only got eyes for whatever her fucking name is, Yumiko. What's her name?
Minako.
Mina Hakuba.
That's it.
He says is not his girlfriend, but everyone says is his girlfriend.
Getting her mixed up with Hinako, but that's
from Silent Hill. Yeah. Big props to the Silenced Ruins as well in Dawn of Sorrow, because that has got some classic Castlevania music in it.
Yes.
There's quite a lot of them. There's quite a lot of those. Quite a lot of throwbacks in these games as well to like earlier stuff. Like there'll be like enemy placements and things like that kind of hark back to like the NES games and stuff in it. It's really cool.
The again, like linking back to Bloodstained, I was surprised to see that he's sort of reused ideas, obviously with the enemy types, but even right up to boss ideas. Like there's a boss in Dawn of Sorrow that turns into bats, and you got fights. There's a very similar boss in one of the Bloodstained games as I was playing it, but I couldn't quite figure out who that was. Am I just making that up?
No.
Bloodstained bosses. There was one, or maybe I'm just mixing up. There's one that's maybe just the color red in one of the bloodstained, and you've got to sort of avoid her blood spatters.
Oh yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
really like that boss. Bloodless, I think she's called.
Yes, yeah. She was really difficult though. I remember.
She was tough.
Yeah. And then there's like the Bat Company in Dawn of Sorrow, which is just like a group of bats that thinks I think the bosses in Dawn of Sorrow are like, some of them are just absolutely fantastic. I really, really love that first one. I think it's the first one, the old Balor.
Yeah, I like that he's a returning boss. Apparently he's in a few of the different Castlevania games. He's a boss in Aria of Sorrow, and then he comes back at the beginning of Dawn of Sorrow as well. As I was looking him up, it seems like he's in a couple of...
He looks really different between the two games, though, doesn't he? Yes. Like in the first game, he's just kind of like a face with some hands either side, like a sort of a tanned guy, whereas in the second one, he just looks like a big sort of muscular Frankenstein's monster. But I love it because he just looks like he's really bored and fed up. Just kind of like leaning with his hand, like his head in his hand, just like trying to squish you. Like, oh, fuck off, mate, go away. I think that's they really made use of this, like the screen size in this. It's a smaller surface area, but sometimes like with the last boss, it fits across like at least 3 screens worth. But some of them, they like that Gurgoth.
Oh, I felt bad. The Gurgoth is the one I felt bad about.
Yeah, the one that kind of looks like it's chained up, and it's basically just like a rotting, I don't know, 2-legged like Siamese cat or something.
Yeah.
But that boss is so good because you have to climb all the way up that tower to get to it, and you have this big old fight at the top, and then it like smashes through the floor, and you both drop all the way down to the bottom. Like that kind of stuff. It's like unparalleled in terms of Metroidvania stuff.
Yeah,
like this is why Castlevania is special, because of this kind of stuff.
I thought across both games there was a nice variety of enemies as well.
Oh yeah,
in terms of like I say, Gurgoth is fun, but I felt sorry for him. And then, like you say, I like that he changes the makeup of the castle afterwards, and it changes. Like if you ever have to go back up there, which you do almost right away. Actually, you've got to then jump across the gaps. At the beginning of the game, again, like when I started playing Dawn of Sorrow, I was like, oh, they're just reusing stuff here, and I was like, I don't quite like that. But I think in hindsight, once I finished the game, if I then thought back to, like, most people aren't playing these games back to back, there is something quite cool about saying, I remember him from that game. And like, Balor, or however you say it, was quite a late enemy in Aria of Sorrow, where he's like one of the front ups. He's like right up front.
Yeah.
Dawn of Sorrow, I like that sort of escalation of, this guy's still around. I did look him up while you were talking about him. He also makes an appearance in Portrait of Ruin. And he looks more like the version of Balor from Dawn of Sorrow as opposed to Aria.
Basically exactly the same, isn't it? Yeah.
I assume he looks like that in part because you mess him up in the first game of Aria of Sorrow. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll take it. That'll do.
He's also in Grimoire of Souls as well, but I don't know what that is. If that's just another Castlevania.
He's in the opening. Yeah, he's in. That opening cutscene of Dawn of Sorrow. He actually looks pretty cool.
Yes, he does. Do I have anyone else that I'd written down that I like?
Grimoire of Souls. Yeah, that was. I'm pretty sure that was the mobile game.
Oh, okay. Legion. I thought he was fun from Aria of Sorrow because he's just mechanically unlike anything. It's just this fairly easy, and there's like a couple ways to do it. Because you get something if you kill it properly. Whereas I obviously didn't. Yeah.
By properly is that you have to take off all the outside bits.
Yes.
Yeah, which is, a risk reward thing, because if the more bits of his shell you take off, the more green lasers he's going to fire, and they will melt you. Like, he doesn't muck about.
Yeah.
I've always liked the Legion boss actually in Castlevania games, because that one comes up in a few of them as well. I think. Oh my god, it's in loads of them.
Is it?
Yeah, it's in Symphony of the Night apparently. It's definitely in. Yeah, it's in Circle of the Moon. It's on the first GBA one. and it's in Portrait of Ruin. And it's on one of the PS2 ones as well, actually.
It makes an appearance in the novel. Excellent. I didn't know there was a novel.
Oh yeah, there's a novel that's after the end of Dawn of Sorrow that like marks the sort of final appearance of Soma. I think. Yeah. I don't know if it ever came out of Japan though.
Yeah. There's almost definitely fan translations of it.
Oh yeah, good point.
And a boss, the other boss that I want to sort of mention that I found it really difficult to start with, but ended up really enjoying it, was the Puppet Master in Dawn of Sorrow.
I love the Puppet Master as well. Yeah, I think it's brilliant.
Once you sort of figure out, so for listeners that haven't played it, he picks up a puppet and he stuffs it inside, what do you call those things? Iron Maidens? And then that sort of sucks you into the Iron Maiden and you take damage from that. So you've got to simultaneously be doing damage to him as well as keeping your eye on his arms and breaking the doll before you can stuff it inside the Iron Maiden. Really inventive and interesting boss. Does that pop up in other games? Well, we're on it. Puppet Master, Dawn of Sorrow.
He's in the novel. Harmony of Despair. What's that one again? Oh, that's sort of like an online multiplayer game that came out on 360. Not very good. And PlayStation Network. Well, that's got Soma Cruz in it, I think. Which is the one where he like goes in the mirror?
Oh yeah.
I hope. Because then you can go in mirrors after that, can't you?
Yeah.
It's not Zephyr, the one that can do the stop time, is it? That's somebody else.
Is it Paranoia?
Yes. Yeah, I thought Paranoia was really good as well, actually.
They built on that. So in Aria of Sorrow, there's a mirror boss as well, which looks a bit like Paranoia. I wonder if that's just they've sort of fleshed that out, or if that was just a coincidence. Probably just a coincidence, right? Because there was the boss in Aria of Sorrow where or it's not a boss, just a sort of regular enemy. You'd be walking past mirrors, and then you'd have your reflection. And every so often, a mirror, it would change your reflection was just an enemy, and if you stood beside it long enough, he would come out the mirror and take a swipe at you.
Yeah, that's right. But there was quite a lot of phases to the actual boss once you got there in the end, wasn't there? And he's kind of got the floating mirrors around the edge of the map as well, and he's go inside. Yeah.
You're right. Good fun.
Just some really, and because there was sort of 4 mirrors in the corner of the screen, and he would like stick his hand out and fire lasers, and you kind of had to sort of position yourself around these sort of floating 3D polygonal mirrors to try and not get hit by one of the lasers, to try and work out like how the directions his laser fire was going to take. It's quite it's almost like a mathematical equation of a boss.
I feel like a lot of that was luck for me.
Oh yeah, hide in a corner and hope for the best.
Yeah, basically
duck in the corner. Yeah.
Visually really, really good.
And then the final boss is just unbelievably cool. Just like a massive, big old lad that you have to jump up platforms to hit, and then he sort of creaks forward, and you got to hit him basically and like the gusset until he stands up again. And of course, death. Death's in all of them. Death was tough in this one.
Is death just a thing that's in all Castlevania games? Because I feel like
he's just mates with Dracula. The novel is Soma has to fight death one final time. That's mainly what that book is about. Apparently, it's not a Dracula thing. It's more of a Soma versus death kind of job. Not at all. I don't know why. But
well, whoever's watching this will see me. Yeah.
And you're right. Actually, the Julius mode, you do fight Soma, and then the sort of final form of Dracula, same as it was in Symphony of the Night, when Dracula turns into the kind of like almost like a bull kind of thing on its sort of standing on its haunches. That
I didn't see that. Did I?
It's in the bestiary. I'll send it to you. Hold on, I'll put it in the Discord. Okay, you scroll to the bottom.
Continue without supporting. I just keep seeing that student witch every time I see her. I'm just like, oh, you are funny. And the death of the Frankenstein guy as well, that would just sort of go rigid and fall straight backwards, was also very, very good.
Yeah, there are definitely some death animations in these games that are pure magic. Like, I really like the ones basically that make a horrible scream or whatever as they die. Like there was like the puddle one. There's like I think it's in the I've gone off the fucking locations. There we go. In the subterranean hell, I think it was in Dawn of Sorrow, where you've got basically it's just like a thing that just appears on the water surface. It's just like a blob, and you'd kill that, and it would go like, ah!
Yes.
There was like a demon. There was some sort of demon butcher in the Aria of Sorrow as well, and you'd kill him, and he'd be like, no! As he died. And there was that horrible one that I was talking to you about. The old, like the little dude who sends his dog after you, and if you killed his dog on its own, he'd sort of go, oh no.
Yeah, I never really
kneel down.
Yeah, that's all I ever did with that guy. So I just saw him come in, and Doc would die, and then he would just go away. I never really quite understood, because I never saw what his attack was. Because you just never stayed around long enough to let me see it.
Yeah, because I think I did do it once, but yeah, I don't remember seeing him do very much other than kind of just get angry and come at you. But yeah, if you kill his dog, he's not having any of it. What is that actually called in this bestiary? Oh man, those bouncy little like skeleton snake things are funny as well. They sort of just go... I don't know how they seem to have no programming in them at all. They have no AI. It's just like someone just threw a bouncy ball in a room, and especially when it's got like the little fleaman on the back. Yeah. It's when he's like riding it. That's so funny. And always like the obsession with like random wheels, like flaming wheels. with, like,
it's got like
bull
a
faces
head
on
in the
them.
middle.
Yeah.
And then there's the wheel that's
come
like,
down the stairs.
There's the enemy that's like, I know it's not quite a wheel, but it's like he's got a giant like yo-yo that he just flings at you as well. But yeah, the wheels, man.
Oh, and the homunculus as well that are under the water, and they're all like chained. They're like got the tubes coming out going into the tanks, and they just kind of like flail at you as they're trying to swim really, really fast. Oh, he's just called he's called Dead Mate, a zombie that protects graveyards together with its beloved dog.
Poor guy.
Silly boy though, isn't he?
Yeah.
And of course, we can't finish this pod without talking about the spin devil thing, which is basically just like a shitty little gust of wind with a devil's head at the top.
Oh yeah, that's
weird.
Gold head. It dies.
You can always hear it. Yeah. That is just such a random design. Just like, what if we had an evil head, but it's actually in a windmill? Whirlwind. Very weird. Very funny.
Yeah. Do you think that I've written here? Ask Alex. Is the Tactical Soul the most consequential development in the Castlevania franchise? Again, like it sort of builds on my assumption that I thought it just became a mainstay of the franchise, but if it sort of goes away now and comes back, I'm interested that Igarashi sort of brings it back in Bloodstained in a way.
Yeah, he obviously rates it.
Yes, he rates it. I think it fairly fundamentally changes the way you play these games. I guess not necessarily good or bad, but it adds a real dynamic to playing these games. I think, is that the right word I'm looking for? I don't. I mean, not, but it feels quite fundamental to me.
Yeah, it obviously opens the game up for a lot of experimentation of play styles, and you can customize it like really, really nicely. And especially once you get into Dawn of Sorrow, where you've got Yoko and you can forge souls with weapons. Did you do a lot of that?
No, basically just ignored it.
Okay, so obviously with your axe, you can end up with, well, I think you can end up with not only the golden axe, but once you get Death's Soul,
why I didn't do it. Because
I put Death's Soul into a weapon and got Death's Scythe at the end, so I was using that for the end of the game, and it's just so OP. It's a brilliant weapon. I went through quite a lot of them. Like I was trying to basically do all the stuff that I kind of liked. Like I quite liked some of the katanas in that game as well. So I got that all the way to one level as well, where I had like a sort of like blood-soaked dark magic katana. That was quite fun. But I really liked that aspect of it as well, where you can sort of build your way up through the weapon kind of ranks without having to buy them or find them. You're finding souls. However, I just think no matter how high your luck stat gets, unless you've got like what is it, like 300,000 to buy the ring that makes souls drop more regularly, like the farming in that game can become a drag. I think I said to you, I was looking for one soul and I can't remember what it was, but I was like 20 minutes basically going in and out of a room, hitting it and then walking in it.
Yeah, it was like the wargs. No,
I was like, but this was like more one of the rarer ones.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, and it just took so long to get the soul off of it. I just thought, like, what am I even doing? Like, I'm probably not even going to use this weapon towards the end of the game, but I'm just farming for no reason.
I'm surprised
it's a bit paddy.
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't engage with it more, because I feel like in the Bloodstained games, I really engaged with it quite a bit.
Yeah.
I remember doing that.
Trying to go and find all the fucking food to make all those recipes.
Yeah, I forgot about
for that little old lady. Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, this time round I just sort of blew past it. I'm not sure why.
Yeah, it doesn't feel as like much of a requirement in this game as it does in that one. Whereas that one, you got like missions and stuff that felt like it will actually benefit you to complete them. Whereas this one is just like, if you want to have a muck about with some weapons, farm some souls and stick them in here. But if not, just level up and use the weapon a lot, and you'll be all right.
I've also got written down here to ask you, how much do you think these games are informed by Symphony of the Night? But I think you've kind of answered that already. They feel quite heavily informed, right?
Absolutely, yeah. They'd had Symphony of the Night, and then a couple of terrible N64 ones, and I think the series kind of dropped off a little bit for a while until they sort of reinvigorated it with these. Have you got the list of games by release?
I've got the JPEG that I can.
Might be on the wiki for me to just look at it here.
Yeah, you probably get it quicker than I can. So
when we had Symphony of the Night in 97, and then you had Castlevania on the N64, and then Legacy of Darkness, which was the N64 sort of. They basically like rebooted the game again because it was so rubbish the first time. They just sort of did it again at the end of the year. And then after Legacy of Darkness, the first one was Circle of the Moon on the GBA. So yeah, you're basically talking. They went sort of straight. There's not actually that much of a gap, really. It's like just under a year and a half between the last N64 one and when they started doing the GBA ones. So I guess it had a couple of barren years where people kind of thought Castlevania tried to go 3D and failed, so they just went back to what made it great in Symphony of the Night and tried to stick it on a tiny little console. And as you've said a couple of times, really largely succeeded, because it is like some of the, I said the animations weren't great and the sound's not great, but the enemy variety in there, the size of the map, like it's a 5 or 6 hour game, which is perfect for a handheld. But some of the backgrounds and stuff in Aria of Sorrow really do look smart. And they're not on the same level as the DS, obviously, but I think that's the strongest like part of its art direction. And Aria of Sorrow is like the background work. I think some of it just looks really, really cool, really atmospheric, and that's what you're after in a Castlevania game, is sort of moody gothic horror vibes. And both of these games have got it in spades. They just look fantastic for the systems that they're on.
This is maybe a question that is unanswerable because I'm just asking you to pull from the memory banks. It just may be a bit unfair, but like we're talking at the start of this podcast about how a lot of Zelda games sort of come along and people either don't like it or they like it, then they like it or they don't like it, and then they sort of flip it around as time goes by. There was a lot of controversy, isn't the right word, but a sort of lackluster appeal to Symphony of the Night when it was initially released, because it was a 2D game on a console that people were trying to be 3D. At what point did people realise, oh wait, this is one of the best games ever made?
I don't actually know. That kind of, again, feels like it's going to be a journalists got it, gamers were just ready for the next thing.
Yeah. Because I'm just sort of interested, given how closely these sort of pull from the Symphony of the Night playbook. What were these, like 2003-ish? So they're not that long. They're like 4 years after. So you would think like they made Symphony of the Night and then they moved on to these games largely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wonder how much they were sort of informed by confidence in what Symphony of the Night is and versus sort of critical general consensus / reception. I'm not sure.
I think...
what's the Metacritic for Symphony of the Night? Would that be more
if it even has
release?
If it even has one? Yeah, I'd be interested to see that. I think it kind of follows the same sad story as Super Metroid, really, which again people look back on as, you know, a genre-defining classic, one of the greatest games ever made, and yet it's the 34th best-selling SNES game. You know, it sold didn't even sell 1.5 million copies. Mm-hmm. Sold less than Super Scope 6, which was just 6 games for the Super Scope. It sold less than, you know, Pilot Wings, Mario Paints, Sim City, just miles behind them. Miles behind. If you look at, like, you know, Donkey Kong Country selling nearly like 10 million copies when it came out a few months after Super Metroid, like, you know, people probably... A lot of people will look back on Super Metroid and say that it's a better game than Donkey Kong Country. Not sure that we would, but the sales figures never represented that. And the same thing would go with Symphony of the Night versus a whole bunch of other stuff on the PlayStation that it would have sold more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know why people suddenly went back and went, actually, hold on, this game's really, really good.
Yeah.
Or whether... What is it? Have you found any scores for it?
Yeah, it's got a very high Metacritic, and I was trying to listen. And sorry, my responses to your interesting chat was probably not satisfactory because I was trying to listen to you read and figure out it's got a very high Metacritic score. But then I was trying to dig down and ascertain whether these reviews are sort of given that they like sort of released with that in mind.
Yeah,
or
like when did they actually come around?
Exactly, when did they come around? Like, so like GameSpot have given it an 89, for example. Game Revolution an 83, but then there's like hundreds up here. And I'm just like, yeah, but did you play this in like 2010 when we already knew what it was?
Exactly.
It's kind of hard. It's hard to publication A to Z. Oh no, that's not what I want. Recently added. Yeah, so if we go down to the bottom... Yeah, it's sort of. Yeah, I'm not sure. Do IGN still have their review for this? Can I click through to it? Is there a date on the page? No, all not available. Yeah, not sure. Inconclusive, I would say.
Oh yeah, it's not on there, is it? If you go to the IGN one.
I'm looking through my other notes here, and I've got plenty more of them. However, I think we've largely covered a lot of this, talking about how the GBA feels like a fully fledged Castlevania game, despite being a 3-button game on I was going to say a compromised console. Hopefully people know what I mean when I say that. It's not compromised, but it was certainly...
I mean, it is in hindsight, but at the time it was probably the most powerful handheld we'd ever had, wasn't it?
Exactly. The castles feel big, they feel well fleshed out. It feels like a fully fledged game, but again... I'm fully aware that a lot of my own biases are coming in here. My sort of natural assumption that a handheld game is traditionally a lesser version of a game, which I think is the more we play of these things. We've done a few Game Boy games over the years. Was it the Wario?
Yeah, Wario Land. Yeah.
Like, I think my perception of... I have to admit that my perception of these is probably unfair. Smaller doesn't mean lesser, if that makes sense.
Yeah. There's quite a lot of GBA stuff we could revisit. You know,
Sonic
there's the
games,
Minish Cap and the Fire Emblems and stuff.
Minish Cap was one I think that I started to play before I got distracted by you and Doncaster, and ended up playing.
Yeah, by old Vandal Hearts.
Vandal Hearts, which is bloody lovely. So yeah, I think I've said all I have to say in these games. Both very, very good. I think if I'm going to tell someone to play one, it's going to be Dawn of Sorrow, but that's not to take anything away from Aria of Sorrow, which I had an absolutely lovely time with.
Yeah. It was it was very much like they brought out the Advanced Collection and everyone was like, oh yes, great, I get to go and play these, those 3 handheld games that they brought out on the GBA that, are hard to get hold of, and we're kind of locked on that system. But man, I really wish they'd release the DS ones as well, because the DS ones are just like that little level above. And then they did on the Dominus Collection, which, if you can put up with the screen size woes that we've moaned about, it's very worth what little you'd have to pay for it, because it's on sale so often, and it is 3 games that are of a significant quality. It'd be interesting to have David play the other ones and come at it from like a modern standpoint, having played Dawn first in the correct order. Like, I don't necessarily think, I definitely don't think that Portrait of Ruin improves upon it enough. I haven't played Order of Ecclesia for a while now, but I want to play that one again as well, because I think that is the better of the other 2 on the DS. Portrait of Ruin's fine, but I don't think it necessarily lives up to its premise of the whole world's inside a portrait kind of thing. They're not enough of it going on, and fundamentally you're still in a castle. And what that does have though is a whole brand spanking new amount of enemies to look at and enjoy. So there is that. I was pleased to see loads of new enemies in Portrait of Ruin.
As we were discussing that, I was trying to sort of mentally list the games in my head. So I think of the Bloodstained games, we've played Curse of the Moon and Ritual of the Night. Is that no, right?
we've just played Ritual of the Night. Curse of the Moon is like the NES one they did, which I've struggled to enjoy because it's just that too difficult. So, Bloodstained 2 is of course out this year.
Yes, I saw that. Or is that what it's called? So
as is
the Scarlet Engagement TBA 2026, and then something in 2020 came out. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2. That's another NES game. That's,
right, okay. Of course, there is a new Castlevania out this year as well.
Well,
which is looking amazing. Have you seen? Have you looked at a lot of that?
No, I didn't even know there was one coming out this year. That's
made it on Dracula's. Hold on, what's it called? What's it called? No, that's Castlevania 2. Belmont's Curse, not Dracula's Curse. Yeah, there we go. When's that coming out? It's by I think it's by the guys who did Dead Cells.
Oh.
Let me send you the trailer and we'll get a live reaction on the pod. There you go.
Let's have a look at this.
In the name of His Most Royal Majesty, by the grace of God, the King of France.
Well, it's got Dead Cells look about it, doesn't it?
Yeah. But they've stated it's not a roguelike. It is a proper Castlevania standard Metroidvania game.
Yeah. Or like a lot again, feels like skeleton.
Yeah, bit of death. Clearly, death is in it. So I just saw it here. Doing a bit of the old background works in the style of like Donkey Kong Country with the old silhouettes and stuff.
Hey, this falls into
so now
Skybox / background I would put in my relative.
Trevor
Yes.
Rage 2.
Yeah, that like just that
Last
image of like
house
her stood in front of the
Yeah.
town for like the poster is really, really awesome. This is set 23 years. Oh, okay, so it's set a couple of decades after the Dracula's Curse,
So
which
she
is
must be
Castlevania 2.
She must be a Belmont then, I assume, in your...
I think she might be one of the Bell Guards that we were talking about.
Ah. Yeah, it looks amazing. Really, really now into that.
Yeah, so that's... I don't know when that's coming out, but that's coming out this year as well. So we are eating really good for these two games this year, I hope. If they both hit.
So in my head, so if I was going to... I'm trying to just rank them off the top of my head because I might even forget the ones we've played then. We've not played that many. Symphony Night,
no, not
the
yet.
best one. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, is that the right one?
Yeah.
Would probably be my second favourite. Then Dawn of Sorrow,
Yeah.
then Aria of Sorrow.
I'm completely with you there. That is how I would rank them as well.
All of them good though. I'm not saying just because Aria of Sorrow is in last place doesn't mean I don't like it. Very much enjoyed my time with that game.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a great sort of setup to playing Dawn to kind of appreciate what those handheld games are doing.
And I think you've played it in the right way was to play those two back to back because although different consoles, you sort of got the complete story of Soma in one go.
Yeah.
Which is great. Next episode, am I right, Alex? We're going to continue our snail pace through the top 100 360 games of all time.
Yes, we are indeed. We will be up to 45 by the time we've done that one, so we'll be almost halfway there.
Yeah. Some of the ones that I'm trying to pull out of the back, pull out of my ass. Some of the games in the list: Enslaved Odyssey to the West, Dead Rising, Driver San Francisco. What else have we got? Maybe shouldn't tell everyone all the games we're playing, but there's some of the ones that you can look forward to hearing us talk about.
Yeah. We've got some. Yeah, there'll be a bit of Call of Duty, a bit of Mass Effect of some kind. There'll be a Halo game in there.
All the fun.
Yeah, it's going to be good. 15 more games to rank. It's going to get really, really tough.
Yeah, it is.
Currently, we've got Dead Space as our number one game, and in 30th place, we've got Split Second Velocity,
which was a fun game.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, we've also got a YouTube channel, so just search for AWinnerIsYou podcast on YouTube. And if you're watching this on YouTube, we also have a podcast. You can listen to us in your ear holes while you're out walking the dog or going to the gym or whatever you do with your ears plugged with music and sound. Just search for AWinnerIsYou podcast. We're on BlueSky if you want to hear what we're up to and talking about. At SuperSmillie for me, at THRILLEX for Alex, and at WinnerIsYou pod for us. On TikTok, search for AWinnerIsYou podcast. Alex, have you got any housekeeping?
No, it's too hot for that. It's time for bed.
Too hot for housekeeping. Time to go and lie in bed and not be able to sleep because Alex is too hot.
Yeah, that's it.
And on that bombshell, I've been David, he's been Alex, and we have been AWinnerIsYou. Peace.
Keep gaming.